Hey guys, how you doing? This is Mr. Nolan, and I'm here with your 13A and B notes. This will be my last video of the year. Mr. Grimsland's got your last one. So here we go. In these notes, we're going to cover the rise of Western civilization and thought, and we're going to talk about some of the economic factors that lead to the Renaissance in Italy and Europe. All right, and the economic effects of the Crusades. One of the big things that you need to know is that the Crusades are not just going to be wars that occur in the Middle East. All right, what they're going to also do is lead to some trade. Now, trade had existed, but it's going to expand it. Middle Eastern goods are going to start reaching Europe more easily, and this is going to increase demand. Okay, when demand gets increased, price will go up a little bit, but also production will go up. So there's an increased production of goods in Middle East markets to try and meet that demand of European goods. This is going to encourage the use of credit and banking systems. Okay, so an important economic concept of the time is the idea of credit and banking. First thing you need to know is that there is a Catholic Church rule against what's known as usury and the bank's practice of charging interest. Okay, so a lot of things have happened towards the end of our class period or time that we're talking about here in this class. We have had the Crusades where the church has called for this holy war that has not been successful. We've had the Black Death where a third of Europe's population had died. Okay, and the church had no answer or no solution to this. So all of this, and then the banks or the church practice against charging interest has led to a little bit of secularization in northern Italy. So some of the cities in northern Italy have gotten to the point where they're kind of just ignoring what the Catholic Church wants or teaches or what the Pope expects. So the church has this rule against usury or the charging of interest for loans. And these northern European towns are going to kind of ignore it. Okay? A part of it, again, is all of those factors welded together and the secularization that it causes. So we're going to have this concept of letters of credit are going to be used to serve to expand the money supply and speed up trade. All right? And a letter of credit, you guys would think of them today as a credit card or a check. Some way so that instead of physically hauling around all of the cash that I need to, I can make a transaction for large quantities of goods. So you're going to have larger quantities of things coming from the Middle East and getting traded into Europe. With larger quantities, we need larger amounts of money. It's easier to leave my money at the bank and just write you a check. So we're going to have these increased letters of credit, which will make trade move a little more smoothly. And then other accounting and bookkeeping practices, specifically Arabic numerals, get adopted throughout Europe in this time period. So all of this is going to lead to these Italian provinces, specifically Florence, Genoa, and Venice. They're going to become the center of trade in northern Italy and for really all of Europe. Okay, they're very free. The banks are very strong there. There's not some king or large empire. They're all their own independent republics. Okay, they compete with each other, but they're not like, there's no Kingdom of Italy at that point in time, as you can see in the map here. They're all independent of each other. They're all right there on the water in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, which gives them easy overwater access for trade to the Middle East. It makes them ideal. Okay, goods come from the Middle East, these goods that are in high demand. They will land in northern Italy, and then from there, they will be shipped up into the rest of Europe at that point in time. It makes the bankers in these Italian provinces incredibly wealthy. Okay, Florence, Genoa, Venice become very rich while doing this. And as a result, okay, they're going to be able to start showing off how rich they've become. These rich bankers are going to commission great works of art, and that is what's going to launch the Italian Renaissance. One other thing you need to know before moving on to the Renaissance movie or video is that a very important piece of text is written during this time period. It's called The Prince, written by Niccolo Machiavelli. And what it is, it's an early modern treatise on government. And what that means, it's his opinion on how government should be, or how we should go about running or creating government. And what he actually supports is the absolute power of a ruler. So Machiavelli teaches that the king should have total power, and there should be no checks or balances to that king's power. Machiavelli also maintains that the end always justifies the means, so that you should try to do a little bit of good, but if to do a bit of good you have to do a bit of evil, he says that's okay. This is more an important piece of work for those of you taking world history too, because you need to understand the impact that it's going to have in Europe in the 15 and 1600s, as we're going to have a series of rulers in France, in England, in Spain, who believe in their absolute power, and they cite Machiavelli when they cite that they have that power. So it's important to know this piece and generally what it teaches, that it supports the absolute power of the ruler and that the ends justify the means. So that's an early piece of work. And then the big things to remember are those economic impacts. And that is essentially going to be it. Here is a big quote from the Prince if you wish to pause the video and read it. But that is going to be all for me this year. Mr. Grimslin will have your final set of notes. Thanks, and I'll see you guys later.